offered. ESPN reports San Francisco granted permission for the star receiver to negotiate a contract with several interested suitors. The Browns, Steelers, and Patriots are in trade talks with the Niners. New England is willing to make the 26-year-old one of the top 5 teams are reportedly in the mix for Ayuk, who caught 75 passes last season for more than 1,300 yards to go with 7 touchdowns.
The Chicago White Sox season has been described as dismal and disastrous.
Chicago White Sox lost again yesterday. They can't beat anybody ever.
No. It's 21 in a row. It sucks. It's not fun. It's painful. It hurts. I mean, you name it. Whatever you want to, however you want to describe it. Like I said, it's not for lack of effort. Nobody wants to come out here and lose.
After the White Sox lost 21 straight games, the team has fired manager Pedro Grifo after less than 2.5 seasons.
And just when we thought the gymnastics events were over, Romania is protesting the bronze medal that Jordan Childs received for her floor routine. Team Romania is protesting the results with the International Gymnastics Federation, and a review of the floor routine will be conducted. This all comes down to fractions of a point and whether or not the gymnast stepped out of bounds.
Official sports at 14 and 44 past each and every hour.
I'm Morgan Wood, along with Ray Harris on the Black Information Network.
A special thank you to Geico Insurance,
a proud founding partner who shares and supports the mission of the Black Information Network. Drafted by the Denver Broncos in 1968 after shattering 22 school records as quarterback at the University of Nebraska, Marlon Briscoe, a.k.a. the Magician, still had to negotiate for an opportunity to compete for the position. At the time, black athletes weren't deemed intelligent enough to play thinking positions. But after the starting QB was injured, Briscoe would step in, and a week later, become the first black starting quarterback in the Super Bowl era, setting Bronco rookie records that still stand. Forced to become a wideout, Briscoe would win 2 Super Bowls with the Miami Dolphins and lead them in touchdowns during their 1972 undefeated season. A successful financial broker after football, Briscoe would recover from cocaine addiction before becoming president of the Boys and Girls Club of Long Beach. Inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 2016, the Marlon Briscoe Diversity Coaching Fellowship was established in his honor in 2020. Passing on June 27th, 2022, Marlon Briscoe's legacy is playing out every game day in NFL stadiums across America. And that's a fact. I'm Weston Tishome for the Black Information Network.
Entertainment news on the Black Information Network.
Usher, LL Cool J, BET, and Live Nation are among the honorees for the Black Music Action Coalition's 2024 Gala. It's billed as a celebration of artists, activists, and executives who make a positive impact on society. It will take place September 19th at the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Los Angeles, California. In more entertainment news, tensions are reportedly high between Jada Pinkett Smith and her husband Will Smith due to his growing friendship with actor Johnny Depp. Sources tell Radar Online that Jada is furious as Will has been enjoying outings and yacht trips with Depp, acting as if he's single. This public display of their bromance has allegedly left Jada feeling embarrassed and unsupported despite public appearances suggesting a united front. Insiders claim that the couple is living separate lives and that Jada has issued an ultimatum to Will: start acting like a married man or face serious consequences. And finally, in a recent interview on Steve-O's Wild Ride podcast, T-Pain revealed that he is considering stepping back from touring due to the lucrative earnings he makes from streaming on Twitch. The rapper disclosed that he earns between $50,000 and $60,000 per hour playing video games, making it difficult to justify the demands of touring. He also mentioned that other artists like rapper T Grizzly are making even more just from gaming. With the latest in entertainment at 17 and 47 minutes past each hour, I'm Bree Wood on your home for 24/7 news, Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Where Black news comes first.
Listen and stay informed.
I'm Bill Black with another Bet You Didn't Know music fact. Here's an oldie but goodie by Luther Vandross. It's a song that everybody loves, but I bet you didn't know this song was the inspiration for the movie House Party. Writer and director Reginald Hudlin explains.
I was packing to go back to college, and the radio was on, and the Luther Vandross song Bad Boy Having a Party was on. So as I'm packing, I'm like, wow, that could be a movie.
Reginald went on to write the movie House Party for New Line Cinema, but I bet you didn't know who he originally had in mind him to star in the movie.
So we developed the movie, and they actually had Will Smith under contract.
Will Smith's management declined the movie offer for House Party. He said he wanted to do a TV show or something. Wonder whatever happened to that guy. I'm Bill Black, and that's another Bet You Didn't Know Music fact on the Black Information Network.
I'm Doug Davis.
And I'm Esther Dillard on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Here are your top stories. Kamala Harris will take the majority of the black vote, but she will not get the vote of one young black Trumper, and he tells us why. One of the security guards accused of killing a black man outside a Milwaukee hotel has turned himself in. And an informant tells Milwaukee police that the white man suspected of killing African-American Shade Robinson plotted the gruesome murder close to a month before her disappearance. Police say it adds a new twist to the case. Her father, speaking to Fox 6 News, says something different.
This fuels my rage, knowing that somebody else could have stopped this, and they didn't.
A friend of 33-year-old Maxwell Anderson, who turned informant, told police Robinson intended to chop up her body and showed him the tools he would use to do it. Authorities located some parts of Robinson's body. Anderson is facing murder and other charges. He pleaded not guilty in court.
A group of inexperienced black Chicago investors believe they were scammed by a black real estate coaching team. They say the black-owned company iFlip Chicago offered opportunities to purchase worn-out homes close to where the Obama Library will be built. Once they accepted the loans, the investors' pocketbooks were drained after the loan company connected to iFlip Chicago hit them with thousands of dollars in default interest fees. Jeanette Taylor, the black older woman representing the area, tells NBC Chicago.
And because they want access to the American dream, we allow a company like this to really destroy their families. You know how hard it's going to be to recover?
Multiple lawsuits are in play. The loan company says the fees were detailed in the closing statement.
3 family members have been arrested in connection with an alleged racist incident in Virginia City, Nevada. Gary Miller is accused of violation of breach of peace. Janice Miller is accused of battery, and Tiffany Miller is accused of obstructing and delaying a peace officer. The incident was filmed last weekend during the Hot August Nights car show. The trio is accused of verbally harassing a black man. At one point, they allegedly mentioned a hanging tree. The video quickly went viral on social media.
Mortgage rates are down. The 30-year fixed-rate mortgage averaged less than 6.5% this week, according to Freddie Mac. That's down since last week's 6.73%. It's also the lowest since May 2023, but it's not clear if the change means many more African Americans will now be able to purchase homes.
And finally, the mother of Kevin Durant says she's always excited to see her son play and was even more thrilled when Kevin broke an Olympic scoring record at this year's Summer Games. Wanda Durant is in Paris and was present at the game when her son surpassed the previous record. The 4-time Olympian is on his way to become the first Olympic basketball player to earn 4 gold medals. For more on these stories and international, national, state, and local news impacting the black community, listen to the Black Information Network on the iHeartRadio app or log on to BINnews.com. On social media, connect with the BIN on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Black Information Network. And join our conversation on X at BlackInfoNet. I'm Doug Davis along with Esther Dillard on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Stay connected to what's going on in our community with the Black Information Network, anywhere with the iHeartRadio app. And now you can share news tips or give us feedback. Just download the latest version and click the microphone in the bottom corner to leave us a message. Original Black reporting.
The Black Information Network.
The Bay Area's BIN 910.
Your money on the Black Information Network.
CNBC All-America Economic Survey finds former President Donald Trump holding a commanding lead among voters on key economic issues, but ahead of Vice President Kamala Harris by a just 2-point advantage in the head-to-head race for the White House after the replacement of President Joe Biden with Harris, an assassination attempt on Trump and the Republican convention. Trump's 48 to 46% lead is within the CNBC survey's margin of error and unchanged from 45 to 43% lead Trump held against Biden Biden in the NBC News July survey. While the head-to-head competition remains the same, there have been dramatic but offsetting changes beneath the surface for both sides that have kept the race even. The most dramatic shift, 81% of Democrats are satisfied with Harris as their nominee, compared with just 33% who were satisfied with Biden. But that was partially offset by a 9% gain among Republicans who are satisfied with Trump as the nominee, bringing that number to 80%. Young voters showed far greater support for Harris than they did for Biden, backing the vice president now by 10 points compared to backing Trump by 2 points in the NBC July poll. Money News at 24 and 54 past each hour. I'm Natasha Williams on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Stories you trust from people you trust.
The Black Information Network.
The Bay Area's BIN 910.
I'm Esther Dillard.
And I'm Doug Davis on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
VP Kamala Harris was on the campaign trail in Michigan when, during a rally, pro-Palestinian protesters began chanting. At first, Harris was gracious, saying, "I'm here because we believe in democracy. Everyone's voice matters, but I'm speaking now." But when it happened again, this was her response.
You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that, otherwise I'm speaking.
Harris stood with a serious parental expression on her face, something the crowd supported with a couple minutes of cheering before she continued.
Police officers who protected the U.S. Capitol during the January 6th riot will be campaigning for Kamala Harris for president. NBC News reports former Capitol Police Officer Harry Dunn, who was black, former Capitol Police Sergeant Aquilino Grinnell, and Metropolitan Police Officer Danny Hodges will join the Harris campaign at events in key swing states. Dunn has called former President Trump the biggest threat to our democracy. Trump is facing federal charges related to efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 election.
The city of Dalton, Illinois, which is facing a multi-million-dollar deficit, is under the microscope this week. Former black Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot was set to release the results of her investigation of alleged overspending by the village's embattled black mayor, Tiffany Henyard. WGN reports they got an early look at Lightfoot's findings, which include tens of thousands of dollars in questionable credit card purchases by several village officials that lacked documentation.
Finally, school is back in session for many across the country. However, some parents are opting to homeschool their kids. Jane Brobery is a retired teacher and mom who wrote a book about her journey to homeschool her son. Brobery says she wrote No More School Bus Homeschooling Made Easy after struggling with school officials on teaching her nonverbal son who's diagnosed with autism.
Kids with autism who are not speaking, the assumption is, oh, well, if they're not speaking, then they have intellectual disabilities, and not necessarily. And they're not thinking, and that's not necessarily true. They are thinking, but you know how to get it out of them.
You can hear more from Brobery this Sunday on The Black Perspective at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern.
I'm Esther Dillard, along with Doug Davis, on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network. Now, your Healthy Minute.
Only about 4 in 10 Americans say it's extremely important to get their kids vaccinated. That's according to a new Gallup poll, which has experts shaking their heads.
There has long been a group out there that planted the seeds of distrust.
Terry Burke, who heads the Texas-based immunization project, says that ballooned during COVID. Conspiracy theorists cast doubt on the vaccine, which were spread through social media. Now she says we're seeing outbreaks of measles as a result.
2 entire generations of Americans who've never seen any of these diseases. If you haven't seen a disease, you don't really understand what we're trying to keep from your door.
The survey done by the Gallup found the declining belief in the importance of vaccines is essentially confined to Republicans. That's your Healthy Minute. I'm Morgan Wood on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Nice underwear.
Credible, trusted.
The Black Information Network.
Nice sag. Very nice
the Bay
underwear.
Area's BIN
Very
910.
nice sag.
The grass isn't always greener on the other side. It's greener where you own it. Bank of America's community home ownership commitment can help. In select markets, get up to $17,500 in combined down payment and closing costs grants. Visit bankofamerica.com/homeowner to learn more.
Very nice
what would you like the power to do?
Yeah.
Bank of America N.A. Equal Housing Lender. Credit and collateral are subject to approval. Restrictions apply. This is not a commitment to lend.
The Equal Justice Initiative is committed to ending mass incarceration and excessive punishment by providing legal representation to people who have been illegally convicted, unfairly sentenced, or abused in state jails and prisons. Support the cause at EJI.org.
Time now for another crime prevention safety tip. Always remember to lock your doors and windows when you leave home. Safety starts with you. Share your tips at #LockItUp.
Countless nasty gals continue to walk through it today.
9:10 a.m. KKSF, Oakland, the Black Information Network.
Listen at BINnews.com or tell your smart device to play the Black Information Network on iHeartRadio.
I'm Tyreek Wade, and here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Former Chicago, Illinois Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who is black, is disclosing a bleak financial picture of the South suburban village of Dalton. During a board meeting this week, Lightfoot said Dalton has a deficit of more than $3.5 million. 3 or 4 men accused of holding down and killing a black man outside of Milwaukee, Wisconsin's downtown Hyatt are in custody. A judge spoke to suspect Ty Erickson via video call. Bond was set for the 2 suspects, while the third is waiting to go before a judge. Former President Donald Trump says he drew a bigger crowd on January 6, 2021 than Martin Luther King Jr., who is black, during his 1963 I Have a Dream speech. At a news conference, Trump was asked if there would be a peaceful transfer of power after the November election. The former president insisted there was a peaceful transfer after he lost in 2020. That's the latest. I'm Tyreek Wade on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
I'm Andrea Tolman in for Terry McCready.
And I'm Kevin Brown on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
A controversial statement from former President Donald Trump. Trump says he drew a bigger crowd on January 6, 2021 than Martin Luther King Jr. did during his 1963 I Have a Dream speech.
The biggest crowd I've ever spoken. I've spoken to the biggest crowds. Nobody's spoken to crowds bigger than me. If you look at Martin Luther King, when he did his speech, his great speech, and you look at ours, same real estate, same everything, same number of people, if not, we had more.
At a news conference Thursday from Mar-a-Lago, Trump was asked if there would be a peaceful transfer of power after the November election. And the former president insisted there was a peaceful transfer after he lost in 2020. Trump then said we actually had more people that day than when King delivered his iconic speech. The Congressional January 6th committee put Trump's crowd at an estimated 53,000 people, whereas MLK's speech at the Lincoln Memorial was witnessed by 250,000 people.
Law enforcement officials say they will be prepared should a possible retaliatory act take place at the Democratic National Convention. The attack would be in response to the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump at a rally in Pennsylvania last month. The concern was included in a routine security assessment conducted by the FBI, Homeland Security, and other agencies providing security for the DNC. The convention will take place August 19th through the 22nd in Chicago, Illinois. The Black Information Network will be there.
U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is
Nice
defending his
sag.
decision to
Very
revoke
nice
plea
sag.
deals with 3
Nice
men accused
underwear.
of planning
Cool
the September
shorts,
11th
too.
attack in
Very
2001.
nice. Very
Austin, who is
nice.
black, says he revoked the deals prosecutors made with the men to honor the huge loss that took place that day. The agreements reportedly would allow the men to plead guilty in exchange for receiving a life sentence rather than the death penalty. Close to 3,000 people were killed in the September 11th attack, which is known as the deadliest attack to take place on U.S. soil in American history.
On the 10-year anniversary of the fatal police shooting of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, his mother says she is still waiting for justice in his death. The 18-year-old unarmed black man was shot 6 times by a Ferguson police officer on August 9, 2014. Shooting sparked protests against police brutality in Ferguson and around the country. In an exclusive interview with ABC's Good Morning America 3, Leslie McSpadden said the St. Louis County prosecuting attorney never brought charges in the case after promising he would.
Well, black mom Wanda Durant has nothing but praise for her son Kevin.
I never thought when he started basketball that these would be the heights that he would reach. And so I am extremely excited for him. I'm proud of him. And the sky is still the beginning. And it's been 17 years, and he has accomplished so much.
Last week, Kevin Durant became the top American scorer of all time for Olympic basketball competitions. The All-Star and 2-time NBA champion has scored a total of 494 points in the 4 Olympic Games he has participated in. For more news impacting the black community, listen to the Black Information Network on the iHeartRadio app or log on to BINnews.com. I'm Andrea Coleman, along with Kevin Brown on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
I'm Bill Black with another Bet You Didn't Know music fact. Okay, this is Patrice Rushen. And this was her big record, Forget Me Not. But did you know there was a very, very, very big record written for Patrice Rushen that she declined? Let me explain. Okay, surely you know this song, right? Yes, Prince, I Want to Be Your Lover. And according to Alan Lee's liner notes in Hits and B-Sides, Prince wrote this song for and about Patrice Rushen. Someone, so she felt it was best if she declined the record. Wow. I'm Bill Black with another Bet You Didn't Know music fact on the Black Information Network.
Get the Black news that matters in 30 minutes on the Black Information Network. The Bay Area's BIN 910.
I'm Natasha Williams on your home for 24/7 News on San Francisco's BIN 910. Growing up in Oakland, Ariel Gillum, who is black, never envisioned a future filled with jewelry and jackets and said her dreams were focused on jerseys and jump shots.
I grew up playing basketball, so basketball was my first love. So I always felt like basketball was going to be like sort of my ticket or way out.
She tells NBC Bay Area her early years were filled with trouble.
My childhood was a rough upbringing, single-parent household. My mom was in an abusive relationship for 17 years, so grew up in that for the whole time.
She says just about the time her professional basketball dreams began to fade, however, a friend asked Gilliam to style an outfit for a photo shoot. Though Gilliam had always enjoyed fashion, she was voted best dressed in school. She had never considered it a feasible career path until then.
After she got dressed, I was like, wow, I just did what a stylist would do. And I was like, I want to keep doing it, and that's where I pursued it.
Gilliam not only pursued styling, but she also excelled at it, working with international fashion brands, athletes, and artists. Grateful for her success in the career she once thought unattainable, Gilliam is now dedicated to inspiring the next generation in Oakland to believe in themselves. About a year ago, Gilliam pivoted her career from styling to teaching fashion enrichment classes through various organizations and nonprofits to young people. She teaches basics of fabric and style, but her goal is to offer something even bigger. She wants her classes to help build confidence, self-esteem, allowing people to learn to love themselves, especially children, and to receive the love from them, she says, because she knows that sometimes at home, the children, the people that she's trying to reach, don't get that kind of love. She says if she can give a person a hug and they can get joy from that, then she feels like she's done her job. In other news, several California lawmakers will head to Chicago to represent the Golden State at the Democratic National Convention later this month. Senate Pro Tem member Mike McGuire confirms 7 state senators will be excused for 48 hours to attend the major event. Assembly Speaker Mike Rivas added the Assembly plans to send a small group as well. Governor Gavin Newsom is also expected to attend the convention. State legislative leaders assure business will proceed as usual at the California State Capitol when the convention begins on August 19th as lawmakers sift through hundreds of proposed laws. And efforts to clear homeless encampments in San Francisco are slowing down. A judge found the amount of employee training to be inadequate and wants to know how many workers know what to do. The policy calls for giving people 30 minutes to pack up and leave if they refuse shelter. Those who aren't from the area get a ticket back home. The issue now seems to be how the city handles their belongings on the street. And that's a look at what's going on in the Bay Area. For more on these stories and international, national, state, and local news affecting the black community, listen to the Black Information Network on the iHeartRadio app or log on to BINnews.com. On social media, you can follow us on X at BlackInfoNet. I'm Natasha Williams on your home for 24/7 News on San Francisco's BIN 910.
Looking for ways to support your community? 51% of all food programs in the Feeding America network are volunteer-run. Learn more about how you can play an important role in ending hunger at feedingamerica.org.
All the black news you trust every 30 minutes on the Black Information Network.
The Bay Area's PIN 910.
This hour of news is brought to you by Merck, a proud national partner of the Black Information Network.
Mark your calendars and join us for the 58th Rainbow Push Coalition Convention taking place August 15th through the 18th in Chicago. The annual convention isn't just a meeting. It's a movement towards progress and equality and brings together business leaders, educators, and workers for impactful discussions and action.